even malicious wallet software should not be able to do this, or worse yet, make your hardware wallet display something like this. All without any user confirmation whatsoever. All an attacker needs to do is combine that with a scary looking error message popping up in your browser wallet, and you have yourself a very dangerous situation which is likely to confuse and trick a lot of users who will end up losing all of their funds. Worse yet, if someone is using their hardware wallet on a computer that is part of a managed environment, maybe a workplace or a school network, or maybe you just have a malicious browser plugin, something like this could happen even if you had bookmarked and navigated to the official website. So this video is going to be a bit different to what I normally do, and it's going to be a bit longer, and you might find yourself just wanting to jump to the bit that interests you. So the first thing I'm going to do is just quickly run through some basic disclosure stuff around dates and basically the story of how we got to where we are now, making this video at the end of May. I'm going to run through just talking about my concerns, my major concerns for this hardware wallet, and things that are really important for you to know if you're someone who has one or is planning to buy one, if you want to be able to use it safely. The third thing I'm going to look at is actually what I filmed back in February, which was the unboxing, setup, and review for this device. And then finally, I'll be offering some summary thoughts and conclusion. And if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe, and that way you can stay in the loop for content I make to help you find your way in the crazy and often hostile environment that is cryptocurrency. So basically, this device was sent to me as a sample to do a review on. Basically, in the end of January, I received the device in early February, and then when I got around to having a look at it in the middle of February, and essentially going a bit deeper and just seeing what I could get it to do and what I could do with it, I stumbled across what I considered at the time, and frankly still consider to be, a fairly significant remotely exploitable issue with this device. I had a bit of trouble trying to get in contact with Secux at the time, and basically heard back from them within a few days. Secux don't seem to have any sort of responsible disclosure policy or thing that you can do to securely inform them when you have found a bug and try and work out what they're going to do with that. So essentially, I adopted a similar process to what we see with things like Ledger, where it's basically 90 to 100 day responsible disclosure policy. The only real response since then has been to acknowledge there was a problem, to actually remove all of the open source tools. So there goes any hope that any other third parties are going to, I guess, develop and build on this platform, and also to just add this little announcement here in the new wallet. Never mind the fact they have not come up with or published any sort of responsible disclosure policy or anything like that. I honestly don't want to make the situation worse, want to respect at least what they're trying to do, so I will not be publishing the actual code that I use in this video. But just to be clear, anyone who's malicious, who knows what they're doing, could reproduce this in under a day. So what you're seeing here, this is actually their wallet that I've downloaded off their website, and I've just changed their logo up the top with my little logo just to make it clear which one I'm referring to. And we can just connect to this, log in, and basically we just have exactly the same wallet that we normally have. And you can do everything in this local version of the wallet that I downloaded, including updating firmware, the whole shebang, except again, we can see this one only goes up to firmware 2.10, just because this was from back in Feb, whereas the official one includes these 2 extra firmware releases that happened since I did the first review, and also now supports Tron. But the point is that it is actually trivially easy for anyone who knows what they're doing to download a copy of this wallet and basically just run it on any server they like. In addition to downloading and running a copy of their wallet locally, I also jumped online and had a dig around to see what was available in terms of open source repositories, and I found this very handy tool on NPM. And when I was having a dig through this, I found this interesting section here, which is the device API. And basically, these are just all the instructions that we can use that can allow us to change the names, the balances, and all of the different things for the accounts, including deleting all of the accounts that are there, querying all of the accounts, and all of this just happens automatically behind the scene. So again, a malicious wallet could easily just query all of your accounts. It can't just drain all your funds, but it could query all your accounts, all of your balances, and then it could do things like changing what is on the screen of the device. So one of the tools that was bundled with this library was this one right here, which is essentially just a whole bunch of buttons linking to all the different API functions. So I cleaned it up a little bit and also just added this thing in here to demo the untrustworthy display. So if I just connect to the wallet, I can basically just put all of the accounts back to normal. And as you can see, that happens basically instantly. There's no confirmation required whatsoever. And I can make those balances say just about whatever I like. So, it can be any number you want. It would be trivially easy to do something like have a website that, say, threw an error that said all of your accounts had been drained and induced you to do something. And it gets worse because these balance lines here can actually display any text you like. So I can just click that there and it can say hello, or I could just do something like this and make it display a message that essentially is going to freak out just about any newbie who looks down at their hardware wallet. And if you're in a situation where you're just browsing in your wallet and basically, as soon as you logged in, it flashed up some big error message saying, critical hardware fault, and then threw that up on the hardware wallet itself. So it's something that's going to trick most newbies. The design of these Secux devices is such that the screen isn't really a trusted screen. There's quite a lot of things actually that the screen can display where it will just display whatever the computer asks it to display. And this issue of dangerous messages being displayed in a trusted place is exactly what was at the heart of the Electrum phishing issues that happened a few years ago. I cover that in this video here. At its heart, this is an issue of having a trusted device and a trusted screen, something you train your users to trust, that is capable of displaying arbitrary, untrustworthy information, meaning that a malicious software on your PC can cause it to display whatever it wants. That is simply not safe. If you're someone who has a Secux W20, it's really important that you understand that all of the information it shows you, other than confirming addresses when you receive funds and confirming details when you sign funds, should be taken with a massive grain of salt. Everything else it shows you, other than those two things, can be a lie. The disappointing thing for me is that Secux as a company, instead of trying to fix this issue, putting in things like having the user have to approve any updates that it gets, having the ability to turn off balances, names, those kinds of things, instead of trying to fix it, they instead just pulled the open source tools and tried to adopt a closed source model. Again, which with a wallet like this, with a browser-based wallet, is basically impossible anyway. Trying to go from an open source model to a security through obscurity model after the fact is not a good approach. All right, so those sorts out of the way, time to run through the initial setup. There you go, so that's everything you get in the box. Okay, so let's just select a pin and say we want to get started. So let's give this a go. So get started, select a pin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, next. 1, 2, 3, 4, next. Pin and confirmation doesn't match. 1, 2, 3, 4, next. Pin and confirmation doesn't match. 1, 2, 3, 4, next. Pin and confirmation doesn't match. So we're stuck on this confirm your pin. We'll just close and start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, next. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Basically, if you get the pin wrong on the first entry, it doesn't matter how many times you get it wrong on the second entry, you must click this X button to go back and start again from the very beginning. It won't just automatically take you back and start again, so that's a bit confusing. So we'll just call this test. Say next. Set up as a new wallet. Yes. 24-word seed, write down a safe place, don't lose or share it. Continue. Okay, so basically you'd write down your recovery seed here. I would suggest that you use a pencil, not a pen. I've got a pen because I don't actually have a pencil at the moment, just because a pencil will survive better getting wet than a pen. So that's just one of my tips along the way. So we'll just write the words down. Okay, and my writing has been a bit messy, and just because this is, a test, I'm not too worried about that, but you definitely want to make sure your writing is legible because this is the most important backup you have. Your seed is your wallet. I cannot emphasize that enough. So we'll say next. Confirm recovery word number 1. Word. So that's good. So it actually did verify all 24 words, so it's not cutting any corners on that. And again, it's good that we have a full 24 word seed as well, rather than a 12, and the touch interface does make it quite easy to do that. Next, my wallet. We'll just say we're connected via USB. Ah, yes, there we go. So it's just using web USB. Oh, there we go. Select a cryptocurrency. We'll select Bitcoin. Add account. So we'll just call it Bitcoin 1. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, so it's got Bitcoin 1. That's interesting. So it actually shows the balance on the device. That is odd. We'll just add a few accounts. So let's add some Ethereum. Yeah, I'm still connected. Okay, that just kicked us back to the start. Let's try that again. Ethereum 1. Right. Okay, so we'll just stick something on there like Litecoin. Let's just add that. Let's see what account type it uses for Litecoin. Right, so it's PageScript has SegWit on Litecoin, but at least they have an M, not a 3, which is useful. So what's this menu do on here? Let's have a look. So we can basically just set the names, we can set the lock, we can hidden wallet. Choose a pin to protect this wallet. This must be different from the current pin. Anyway, that's stuck forever, so we'll just... Okay, so we'll try a pin 4321, because the other one's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Next. 4, 3, 2, 1. Next. Enter your passphrase. So we'll just call it test. This is very confusing. Are they? Okay, right. So it's just... So they're the different word types for passphrase. So it defaults to all uppercase. Next, getting your hidden wallet ready. Enter your PIN. I'm guessing that was the old PIN. Just hold down the power button, see what happens. Okay. Let's try again. All right, enter your PIN. So let's try the one I just made before. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. Okay, so this is the BIP39 passphrase protected PIN. So if I connect now, there's no accounts on there. We'll just add another Bitcoin account. Hidden. Okay. So that'll just behave like a normal wallet. So let's just, what can we do up here? So we can see firmware versions. Are there any updates available? Let's just see. Welcome to Secux update mode. Okay, start. Let's see what happens. Yes, the bootloader. Update is complete. Please reconnect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we'll just say we're connecting via USB, and there we are. So let's just try sending something. I wonder if I can do it on here. That's handy, so I can actually receive just on the device. So we'll just quickly send a transaction to it. So I've just sent Litecoin to it, so let's see how long it takes to appear on here. Oh yeah, that's pretty quick. So it showed it there unconfirmed. Goes out to block chair. So what happens if I click receive? Is it going to give me a new address? Yes. Oh, that's useful. Oh, okay. So the device will only show you the first address all the time, no matter what you do, which is this one here. Whereas if I hit receive on here, it actually is incrementing it. Okay, well, let's send a transaction then, shall we? Let's see what that looks like. Send. So has that actually confirmed? Yes. We'll just send that back to my... There we go. Invalid address. Okay, well I can see why. It probably doesn't like the prefix, so we'll just get rid of that. Are you serious? Hang on, let's just cut it. We'll just start again. Send. Doesn't support native SegWit. Hang on, we'll see if it at least supports PyScript hash. Supports PyScript hash. Send all. Continue. Please verify the transaction and the amount. So I'll just look on my wallet and make sure the address is correct and the amount is correct. Confirm. Send. Okay, so that has been sent. Balance has not yet refreshed. What? Did it not send? It did send. I can see it in Koinomi. So refresh. Refresh. Refresh some more. Anyway, while that is happening, what can we do here? Is it possible to get an extended public key out? No. Alright, so it works with Chrome and not in Brave. And now the device has just turned itself off. Make backup. Test. Pair. Oh, finally. Okay. Right, and this is just the same interface that we had in the browser. It's exactly the same. So if we just go into Litecoin, we can even see our two little transactions that we made. Is there any way to get an extended public key? No. Summary time. This is one of those devices where even before I had struck all of the issues that I went on to find, I really was unsure who this is for. It's a very basic device in terms of the kind of features that it has and some of the features that it simply lacks for any sort of advanced user. And even for basic users, some of the functionality was still quite clunky, and that is just even before we consider what I consider to be some of the wildly unsafe functionality here, especially for newbies. Let's be really clear that this is something that could actually be fixed in software. In terms of how it compares to other devices, you can see it on my hardware wallets feature comparison table. I've updated that now as of May and essentially removed all of the points that it got for having the ability to do things with third-party software in terms of initializing it, in terms of things like extended public keys and so on, because obviously that's all been pulled now. And yeah, that's just how it is. And the biggest challenge of all you'll see when you look on this table is that it is coming in at a similar price point to a Ledger Nano X. Something which I think, frankly, is probably going to be a better option regardless of your skill level. One of the key takeaways here is regardless of which hardware wallet you have, any time that your hardware wallet is claiming to show you a balance of all of the cryptos that are on there, that is something that is essentially dependent on the wallet software providing that balance. It's not something that should really be trusted. And perhaps most importantly, no matter which hardware wallet you have, you need to be familiar with what the legitimate process for restoring your seed phrase onto your device actually is. For the majority of hardware wallets now these days, that's something that only ever happens on the actual hardware wallet itself. You will never be asked to punch your seed phrase into a website, an app, even wallet software, anything like that. And this is the most common scam that gets people who have hardware wallets. Your seed is your wallet, and keeping it secure is critical. One of the other takeaways from this is if you are trying to choose between different hardware wallet options, one of the things you need to consider is whether the company whose hardware you are looking at has a responsible disclosure policy, because that should tell you something about how serious they are about the possibility that people in the community might find issues with their product, and the way that they have thought in advance of how they want to respond to these things. Producing hardware and software that you open up to the scrutiny of the entire community is hard work, because sometimes they will find things that you might have missed. In the crypto community, we make a big deal of malicious exploits and a malicious vendor and malicious programmers trying to rob you. At the end of the day, someone making a mistake or some poor design decisions can be just as dangerous. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Hit like if you think that other people would find this video useful, and hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept in the loop about future content I make that helps people stay safe in the crypto space and to recover if they get into trouble. If you have any questions about this video or a topic that you'd like me to cover, just leave a reply.